right, as we head into December 3rd, Tuesday, at 9:44 Central Time and 10:44 Eastern Time, the nodes of the moon, as they move around clockwise around the wheel, they're going to shift from the 17 and the 18 to the 25 and the 46.
We're doing this nodal transit, and we actually have a longer video explaining what are lunar nodes, and we're going to link that in the description below. And so we'll give you a little bit of a recap on what lunar nodes are, and then we'll start going into the details of this specific transit. For our recap, nodal position. It's determined by the moon's elliptical relationship to the orbit of the Earth around the sun. And so the lunar nodes, it's a non-physical calculation, and it's positioned exactly opposite to one another. So this is a calculation that they come up with, and then we can have our understanding of like how that affects us personally or within the bigger transit. So this is just explaining the basics of what that calculation is and where it comes from.
Amazing. Yeah, and the nodes of the moon themselves, you're right. There's no physical nodes. They're not actually there. There's positions in space that apparently are literally on the poles of the moon.
To recap on the movement, so when we typically are looking at our mandala body graph and we're looking at the sun and the earth and the planets typically, right, they're going counterclockwise. And for the sun and the earth, it's a year rotation. And then when we look at the nodes, it's going the opposite direction. So the nodes, they're moving clockwise around the body graph, and it takes about 18-ish years, and the nodes shift every 3 to 5 months. So this is just to give you a visual when you're looking at the mandala body graph, the wheel, the circle of human design. You can kind of have an understanding. Danny, I believe you explained it to me once as like a mixing bowl situation.
Yeah, I was just going to say the purpose of the nodes as just a mechanical thing to give us life is very similar to what the moon is to the Earth, right? The moon orbiting keeps us at this steady tilt and in a steady Goldilocks zone. The nodes do a similar thing. They literally serve as mixing and a counterbalance, essentially, to the counterclockwise motion of everything that makes us.
Perfect. So here for the purpose and role, let's start with the sun and the earth, right? So the sun and the earth, the purpose, right? They represent the archetype of your role, right? But when you're looking at the nodes set the stage and they're providing the background environment, right? So for the fulfillment of your purpose, right, that is done on a specific stage and it's through a specific continuity of scenes. And it is this setting of the stage that the nodes bring, right? So the sun and the earth are the archetype of like who you're supposed to be, and the nodes are setting the stage, right? So if life is a great stage play, then the nodes are the background characters and the set dressing, and it's how your environment is going to shift and change. And it's through these changing of continuity of scenes. You can almost imagine like an old school movie projector, right? And it's running through, and then the film runs out, and then it has to be changed over for like the next scene to progress. And so that's how we can kind of look at our lunar nodes in the transit.
Yeah, it's so multidimensional that this differing motion, clockwise, counterclockwise, takes place. As the nodes sink into us, they create a profound genetic imprint of a months-long, we've got this. Meanwhile, everything else is sort of spinning through much quicker, happening and living its normal daily life. So it keeps creating this incredible marker. And because the nodes do create our path and our way through, it's as if the stage play, the set, and the way through the play. Or think of a way through a play because it plays on one stage. You're sort of stuck there, but it's a moving stage is what it is.
Yeah, the way I kind of see it, and when I've actually paid attention to feel the nodes shifting in a specific moment, it's almost like when you're watching a play and then like they finish a scene and the lights go dark and then like the guys run out all dressed in black and they move all the set dressings around, right? They move the different furniture and the different pieces around. And once they're done, then like the lights turn back on and then like the actors come out and like again to like resume the next stage. So I see like the nodes shifting. It's like that moment when you're watching the play and the scene ends and it's going to go dark. And the set dressing is going to be moved around. All the crew dressed in black is going to be moving things around. And then we're like reemerge within a new scene.
Brand new is what it is. And these purpose and these roles really show up when you look at them. So whoever's going to be there, if you think of it, set your clock and see if you can feel the movement. It's rather profound.
Yeah, absolutely. So setting the stage. To really understand your nodes is to recognize the world you are intended to deal with, the environment you're intended to deal with, the kind of people who are meant to be in the background of your life, and the kind of forces that are there to provide you with exactly the right connections, the right interaction, the right education, and the right whatever, because they belong in your scene. You have the opportunity to fulfill your purpose. The potential to fulfill your purpose has to be seen against the background, because it's in that background, it's in that environment that your purpose has to be achieved. And this is from Ra-Uru, the founder and creator of the human design system.
The purpose and the path and the movement are all in your nodes. And when you look at the gates that are your nodes and you see that, oh, I do have a movement from the south to the north. Oh, I do have a movement when I count both souths and both norths, along with some cross action where you go diagonally across. They move you, hook you into a line of geometry and guarantee your movement in a direction.
The north node has been 17, which is following and opinions. The south node is 18, which is work on what has been spoiled and correction. So this environment that we've been in for the past 4 or 5 months, right, it's been very logical and critical, right? It's very concerned with the future, and it's been about laying the foundation for a secure future, right? So with the 17 and the 18, it's judgment, it's correction, it's hypotheses of it's ideas and opinions and how to fix stuff, right? And so we're seeing a world where the world needs to be fixed, and it's seeing the realities of society, because you have to know what's really going on in order to have ideas to fix it, right? And so part of it, and this was really interesting in Ra's Lunar Nodes, the environment book, then it said for 17 and 18 that it's being in an environment where we're seeing that there are people who are doing a disservice to humanity and those who are trying to benefit humanity. And I think, you can see that with a lot of things in the past couple of months have been exposed, right? There's been different deceptions or different corruptions, different people, social and world affairs. There's been a lot of expose to kind of see, hey, like, that person maybe not working out for humanity is good, and this person is really trying the best for humanity. And it's been about it just existing that environment and witnessing it, because it's been very
we've had such profound examples of what you just said in the past 4 months, all foundationalizing into this, like, I'll come up with this theory that we're always moving to the one. Well, and the nodes are always moving to the one, whereas our regular solar life, right, with the solar cell we live in, the planets, the sun, earth, moon, nodes, that is always, ripping along quicker. This thing, we're moving down into the one. So I've been reading the foundations of each of these gates, and it really makes sense. We're going to do that with the 25 and the 46.
Yeah, and just to simplify that for everyone, so typically when we're looking at like the sun and the earth, right, and the typical planetary movements, we start at line 1 and then we go up line 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it would move to the next gate. And again, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But because the nodes are moving in the opposite direction, we actually enter into a nodal environment at the 6, and then we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll go into the next gate and it'll go again, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Danny's been playing around with this new hypothesis he's been bringing up, is to actually pay attention then. So we're starting at the 6 and going down to the 1. And so reading the lines in the counterintuitive, not the typical direction, and seeing what that progression leads us and what we can learn from it.
The nodes, since they push us in a direction, they create movement. Since they create that movement, it's not that you necessarily have to read it backwards, but you can. It's more that look at that one, and it seems to be where the node is heading, which would make sense because a node is a mixing agent, exactly counter to the solar movement of everything else. So it would make sense that the nodes have a foundational direction movement, not so much a role model movement. Role model is more for the personality. The sun earths.
That's really interesting. All right, so this nodal shift that's happening December 3rd, we're going to be shifting into this new energy, right? So this new energy of the north node is going to be in 25, which is innocence and the spirit of self. And then the south node is going to be in 46, which is pushing upward, or the determination of self. The 25 and the 46 are part of the vessel of love gates. So it's the 25, the 46, the 10, and the 15, right? And so these are all identity centric gates. So part of this environment is like going to have a really strong identity, right? So the background characters in our environment are going to be standing out more like as strong identities. And that it's also this environment that appears that it's lucky or is lack of luck, because that's gate 46, right? It appears that the person is lucky. But it's actually about realizing that it takes effort and dedication to fulfill the purpose, right? The 46 seems like it's lucky, but it's because, you know, somebody might not be aware of that 46 energy has been learning different skills its whole life to develop into something. It's that effort and dedication. And the other thing that Ra mentioned is that this is kind of a deceptive environmental appearance, because it's about acting innocently and lucky or not. It's luck or lack of luck, right? But underneath that innocence, it's that deep competitiveness and the hard work, right? Because the innocence is gate 25, but you got that 51 link up, which is about competitiveness and willpower and work.
Yeah, and the 46, obviously with a 29 pointing at it, has pushing upward all over the place. The determination is given its sacral yes. It's given, you know, that commitment, that deep within the deep of this gate 29 that will generate a commitment wave like nothing else. It's incredible. As long as 46 has got the direction that is right for that being, and it's in the experience right for that being. Strategy and authority will always get you to know where you're supposed to be according to your nodes and what's going by. But yeah, no, this is the determination of the self is an incredible thing. Its determination is so tantric that it has to be experienced in the now. Think about it. This says the self, that's 46, yet it's collective gate. That's supposed to say we, totally. But this one is it's so concerned with we after the experience, and it needs to be absolutely unconcerned with it. I mean, present to it, but unconcerned about it when it's in the experience. And it's meant to get its dang body into loads of different experiences, including reading a book in a day. Everything your dang body can do, it wants to, is the thing. So 46 knows that, and it's then becomes part of telling the whole story of the rest of humanity, empowering 13 and 33. So it's got a wicked important place in the body.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it's like, having been in this like 17, 18 energy of the past couple months, it's been very much about like ideas and opinions, right? It's very logical. It's very critical. It's about, you know, how are we going to go through the future, you know, seeing the good and the bad, and seeing, you know, that there's work to be done, there's fixing to be done, but it's about like witnessing that. And now it's interesting as we're going to be moving into the 25 and the 46. It's especially like they're both really strong identity gates, but like their body, I feel like there's like going to be a re-embodiment into ourselves, into our sense of our identity, into our sense of our bodies and our innocence. Like and in the identity center is also like part of the heart center, right? And so that sense of re-embodying us and kind of getting the heart pumping again, maybe bringing us out of this very heady environment and more into a heart environment.
And it goes into gate 6. We're on just speaking about 46. 46 goes into line number 6, which is integrity. And it's this wisdom. Wisdom is in so many 6-line descriptions of the word, and this wisdom to secure your identity by being careful, knowingly careful about what limiting forces you let in. And it heads to line number 1, which is the basis of discovery. This dedication that starts out in an obscure place and leads to discovery. It's the essence magic of discovery, if you want to think about it that way, because it's innocent. It just doesn't know. It's paired up with the perfect gate. Because when you're in 25, it's incredible. This is why I said it's going to be a strong punch of an entrance. 25, innocence, this perfected action through this uncontrived, spontaneous nature. That one sentence is the description of, you know, a 6-month-old. You know, just uncontrived. They don't know. They're not making up their mind on anything. They just are. And it starts out at ignorance. So we come in as adults with this like not knowing what the innocence truly is to be, but it's really looking at the first line. This whole discovery process goes to selflessness.
Really exciting to see, what this feels like and how we go from ideas and opinions and into embodiment, and like what that's going to mean for this environment for the next couple months.
I think of innocence coming in on the 25 as such a great power when allowed, and such a huge not a vice and a detriment when you try. Just the act of any kind of trying disorganizes the innocence. So the innocence almost acts like that narrow path you read about in the Bible, for instance, and stuff of that nature.
Good stuff.
Mm.
All right, so here we can actually see it within the body graph to get the specific time of it, right? So this is, again, it's Tuesday, December 3rd, and it'll be in between 9:44 p.m. and 9:45 p.m. Central Standard, and then Eastern it's going to be 10:44 and 10:45 p.m. that you can actually feel this shift, right? And just if you can literally take a minute, maybe you're out with friends, maybe you're at home, just like pop your head outside, stand on the balcony, and just set your clock to it and just kind of wait and see if you feel anything, see if things kind of slow down, is what I've noticed. Everything kind of just slows down a little bit, and it's almost like an exhale, like everything is breathing out, and then there's this kind of pause. And
it's a moment of great prana. There's a great prana that happens between this movement.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, like everything slows down and like comes to a pause, and it's almost like a little like slow motion-y or a little molassesy, and then it's like things like slowly like come back to life, and the breathing in happens again, right? So again, with this analogy, it's almost like an old film projector, right? You're coming to the end of a film reel, and it's going to shift out, and like somebody's got to change it, right? Or within the analogy of like a stage play, right? The lights kind of shut down at the end of a scene, and the crew runs out, dressed in black so you don't see them, and they move all the environment around, and everything just kind of gets rearranged, and then it comes back to life again. So, if you're available and you're interested in this, we highly recommend it. It's literally going to take like less than a minute to just kind of hang out and pause and see if you feel anything, see if you feel that shift. It's a neat, kind of body experience, an energetic experience.
If you're out people watching, see what you see there too.
Yeah.
Yep, because I've done that before. Nodal shifts. It's amazing.
Yeah. Didn't you go to a casino?
Everything stopped. Every last freaking thing stopped.
Yeah, tell that story.
Well, yeah. So I didn't know it was going to happen. We kept jockeying around for the right spot. It wasn't a busy casino. And by the time we'd moved a bunch of times, I'm like, it's almost at the minute. We had to stop. And then I stopped, and I had a whole minute or two to plant myself. Right in that minute between. This happened right before my eyes. It was just a constant wall of diddlings.
The casino noises, the bells and the buzzers and the slot machines.
And the bells and the noises and all the people and all that. Right back up to it. It was incredible.
Yeah, didn't you say it just got quiet for like seconds or something? Like everything just kind of, all the bells and buzzers, and then it just kind of shut down?
It was 2. It was 1.5.
Okay.
It was just a stop. And then a back up again. Enough to be creepy. Creepy cool. It's like, cut it out.
Yeah.
I have the power.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, right? When you notice it. I did it. One of the ones a couple of months back, I just like hung out on the balcony a little bit and just like watching, and it was like cars just stopped entering into the area. There was no one driving through, where usually there's at least somebody. And like, even like it got very quiet. Like even the birds stopped singing, like the wind chimes stopped.
They have a design.
Yeah, there was a thing to it. And then what was the craziest thing was we have like an open grassy field area in front of our house, and like kids are always playing and running around and making noise, and they were running around and playing and making noise. And then like the nodal shift began, and they all just stopped playing, and they literally like got into a single file line and just like walked away, like children who literally just like, they played their scene. They were supposed to be playing their games and yelling and screaming, and it was like, scene's over, and they got in line and they walked off stage.
An uncontrived childlike nature, right?
It was the wildest thing. Yeah. And so like an uncontrived childish nature, they just walk off, and then slowly, like you can feel it like start to like come together again. And then like there's like a bird that like went through all of a sudden, and the wind chimes began, and a car started, and it was like, oh, okay, we're starting up again. But yeah, there's just this odd quiet moment of pause before it kicks up again. So it's really interesting if you can ever like get a chance to like see this and feel it, you know.
Try to. I mean, it's once. You only catch this once in a while, and with a little foreknowledge, it is quite a magical thing.
So check it out. 9:44 Central Time, 10:44 Eastern Time. You know, see what you see, feel what you feel.
I have a prediction as it relates to just the keynotes I'm going to give it. There's going to be a sense of power and strength, and not because either one of them have a motor attached to it. This isn't about motorized power. This is about the thing this planet is then pining away for. This is about love power. One is so innocent, and it is there in the catcher of the warrior as the holder of a gate 25 and U2 Moni. Mine's hanging, and I can tell you that thing, it will be called into anything. You know what I mean? It's innocent. It truly is. And very often, even when you're looking at it, trying to not let it be, it still is, you know, and it's empowered. It's at that centering circuit. So the centering of the power of the self to want to experience in the body, the love of it all finally, on our way to these foundational things, this selflessness and this, the root of discovery. It says being discovered, this way to go through the not knowing to suddenly, from obscura into discovery, strength through the power, through the obscura into the discovery. We're going to feel that. And the obscura is going to be a little bit like maybe, but because it's the identity, it's not going to be that afraid. The last nodes had two awareness centers, and they were both afraid. And in fact, fear is their middle name, you know, both of them. We had 18 sphere and we had 17, and the spleen sphere alone is a survival fear guaranteed. So it was power punch packed with these spikes that, right, the spleen hits us, you know, giddy up, fix it, correct it. It's not good enough. You missed the spot. That's what was going on before. And now it's like, wow, through the serendipity of 46, dude, that's what this is. This good fortune that may be perceived as serendipity, but isn't. It's really the product of dedication and hard work that you didn't even realize strung together to mean something. It's so serendipitous. It's like, wait a second, why did this thing and this thing and this thing add up to the new thing? They're not even related, but they are, because they're in you. And so we're glad to get off of the 1718 because it made us all a little pissed. I mean, made the world's had a little bit of, you know,
there was a lot of agitation.
There's a lot of agitation energy. I mean, you just can't call it anything else. I mean, I think we're putting a mile, really. But so, and then you look at that moving into the 2546, and it becomes what I just described. We're going to feel, it's going to be like a power-packed feeling of a punch. And it's just going to, as long as we don't look at it and say, expect something from it, you know, that would be the thing. Don't get that brain ears thinking it's supposed to think something, right? About it. Just be it. This is discovery. 46 must stay in the body, in the now, and only reflect afterwards.
I love it. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be like a strong sense of like re-embodiment and like just connecting into like our hearts again. And I think it's gonna be really interesting and really good for us.
Yes. This love in the heart, the beating heart. This is so good. I think this is a powerful time for us. I think the 17 and the 18 actually set an incredible foundation for this. They ferreted out the stuff that we don't have to worry about no more, sort of, anymore, in a way, right? Or at least they identified it. That's what they do. And then the half of the vessel comes and takes over and says, rest, my child. Shazam. It was already good enough, in other words. That's what the love will tell us. We were already good enough. That's powerful. That's a power-packed punch. And that's what I think we're going to feel.
I love it. So check it out. You know, see if you feel it either at the time of the transit or in the next couple of months or at any point. Like, let us know. Let us know if you've been noticing your environment.
At the time of the transit, you should feel it here. It should feel powerful. I would love to know. Now I'm going to look at it.
I know. I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite, like, silly little nerd things to do. But yeah, check it out. If you feel something, let us know. Drop a comment, you know, ask questions, tell us stuff, good stories. We'd love to hear it. And thank you for hanging out. And we'll catch you next time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.